The stars looked different from listening post Epsilon. Lisa Morgan pressed her hand against the thick viewing glass as her shift neared its end. In the year 2157, humanity had moved beyond Earth, but compared to other aliens they had met, humans were still new to space travel. Lisa worked as a communications expert at the listening post near Neptune. Her job was simple but important. She listened to space, searching for messages from other beings across the endless dark. The United Earth Space Command had built these posts throughout the solar system to keep watch for both friends and enemies. It happened during the quiet hours, when most of the station slept. Lisa was checking the final signal reports before her replacement arrived, when her screen lit up with strange patterns. The computer flagged it as unknown origin. "That's odd," she whispered to herself. Most alien messages followed clear rules and patterns like a well-written letter. This one looked messy and rushed, like someone scribbling a note while their house burned down around them. Lisa's heart beat faster as she realized what she might be seeing. "Commander Allen," she called through the comm system. "You need to see this right away." John Allen had been organizing supply lists in his office when Lisa's call came through. He was a practical man who had served in 3 space wars and preferred facts over excitement. But when he saw the signal pattern flashing on Lisa's screen, even his stern face showed concern. "How long has it been broadcasting?" he asked, leaning closer to study the strange peaks and valleys in the pattern. "About 20 minutes, sir. And it's coming from the Cygnus arm, at least 17 light-years away." Commander Allen nodded slowly. "Send it to Earth headquarters immediately, and get Dr. Wright on the line." Dr. Paul Wright was the best language expert Earth had. People said he could learn an alien language faster than most humans could learn to ride a bike. He had helped Earth make peace with the first aliens they met, when everyone else wanted war. For the next 3 days, Lisa barely slept. She helped the team capture every part of the strange message as it repeated. Earth's best minds worked nonstop to understand what it meant. On the 4th day, Dr. Wright called a meeting. "It's definitely a cry for help," he said, his eyes red from lack of sleep. "We're dealing with a species we've never contacted before. They call themselves the Viridian Collective." The room grew silent as Dr. Wright showed them the translated message. "To any who hear this, we are the Viridian Collective. Our homeworld is gone. Our 50,000 survivors travel in 7 ships. We are trapped in orbit around the gas giant. At coordinates data. Our engines fail. Without help, we will fall into the planet in 90 days. Our children will never know a home. If anyone hears this, we ask for mercy." Captain Sam Lewis spoke first. 17 light-years? Even with our fastest ships, that's over a month of travel each way. "And we don't know anything about their technology," added engineer Gail Peterson. "How could we possibly fix something we've never seen before?" Arguments broke out across Earth's leadership. Some wanted to help, others thought it was too dangerous. Admiral Susan Foster, head of the Space Command, stood firmly against the rescue mission. "We have responsibilities to our own people first," she said during the emergency council meeting. "Humans have only been traveling between stars for 30 years. We're not ready to attempt something like this." But others disagreed. Captain Richard Hayes of the deep space vessel Horizon pounded his fist on the table. "If not us, then who?" he demanded. Lisa Morgan was invited to speak at the council meeting. She wasn't used to talking to important people, but she felt she had to say something. "I was the first to hear their call," she said, her voice shaking at first but growing stronger. "I've listened to it over 200 times now. There's something in their voices, even through all the static and alien sounds, that I recognize. It's the same thing I heard in my sister's voice when she was trapped in the Mars colony collapse. It's not just fear. It's hope that someone, anyone, will answer." The room grew quiet after Lisa spoke. Then Captain Hayes stood again. His ship, the Horizon, was Earth's newest and fastest vessel. "My grandfather told me stories about the old ocean ships on Earth," Hayes said. "How they would drop everything if they received an SOS, even from an enemy vessel. That's what made us human. We helped each other when it mattered most." He looked Around the room, meeting the eyes of each council member, we may not be the oldest species among the stars, we may not have the best technology, but we know what it's like to fight against impossible odds. Our whole history is about surviving, when we shouldn't have. These Viridians are facing extinction. If we turn our backs on them, what does that say about humanity? The debate lasted 3 more days. Earth's leaders argued about risks, about duty, about whether humans could even help aliens with technology they didn't understand. In the end, the council voted by the narrowest margin, 7-6, to attempt the rescue. As the news spread across Earth and its colonies, something unexpected happened. Thousands of people volunteered to join the mission, even knowing they might never return. Engineers, doctors, pilots, and scientists all stepped forward. This isn't just about saving the Viridians, Captain Hayes told the crew as they prepared the horizon for its most dangerous journey yet. It's about showing the galaxy who we are. Humans answer when someone calls for help. That's what we do. Lisa Morgan was among the volunteers selected for the mission. As the rescue ships prepared to leave Earth's orbit, she sent one simple message back to the Viridian fleet. "We heard you, we're coming, hold on." 3 ships left Earth on a cold Tuesday morning. The largest was the Horizon, led by Captain Richard Hayes. Next was the Vulcan, an engineering ship with more tools than weapons, commanded by Captain Mary Peterson. The smallest was the Asclepius, a medical ship with Dr. William Carter in charge. Together, they formed humanity's answer to the alien cry for help. The mission got a special name: Operation Lifeline. Everyone knew it was dangerous, maybe even impossible, but they went anyway. Lisa. Morgan sat at her communication station aboard the Horizon, still amazed they had actually launched. Just 2 weeks ago, she had been the first to hear the Viridian distress call. Now she was traveling to meet them. "Nervous?" asked Ben Garcia, who worked at the station next to hers. Lisa nodded. 17 light years is the farthest humans have ever gone, and we don't even know if we can help when we get there. That's why we're bringing the best, Ben said, pointing across the bridge to where Grace Martinez was checking engine readings. Chief Engineer Martinez had barely slept since the mission was approved. Her team had taken apart and rebuilt the Horizon's engines 3 times to make them faster and stronger. Now she watched the power levels with careful eyes, knowing they were pushing the ship beyond what it was built for. "How are they holding up?" Captain Hayes asked, stopping beside her station. Grace didn't look up from her screens. "The coolant system is running hot, but holding. We're flying faster than any human ship in history." She finally turned to face him. "These engines weren't made for this kind of journey, Captain. I've done everything I can, but..." Hayes put a hand on her shoulder. "I know. You've worked miracles, Grace. Keep them running just long enough to get us there." "And back?" she asked quietly. The captain's silence was answer enough. In the medical bay, Dr. Carter and his team were studying everything known about the Viridians, which wasn't much. They had only the information from the distress signal to work with. Their bodies might work completely different from ours, Dr. Carter told his medical team. They might breathe different air, have different blood, or even see things we can't see. We need to be ready for anything. One of his doctors, Dr. Linda White, raised her hand. "What if we can't help them? What if their medical needs are beyond our understanding?" "Then we learn," Dr. Carter said simply. "We watch, we listen, and we adapt. Humans are good at that." Aboard the Vulcan, Captain Peterson gathered her engineers around a large table covered with tools and computer parts. "We're going to face technology we've never seen before," she told them. "Fixing their ships will be like trying to repair a car while blindfolded and wearing mittens. But we have one advantage the Viridians don't have." "What's that, Captain?" asked Joe Rivera, her chief mechanic. Mary Peterson smiled. "Human stubbornness. We don't give up, not ever." The journey was harder than anyone expected. On day 12, they hit a gravity storm that nearly tore the Asclepius apart. Only the quick thinking of pilot Ryan Mills saved the medical ship. On day 19, the Horizon lost power for 6 terrifying hours. The ship grew cold as the emergency system struggled to keep everyone alive. Grace Martinez and her team worked in the freezing engine room, their fingers turning blue as they made repairs. "How did you do it?" Captain Hayes asked when the lights finally came back on. Grace showed him her hands covered in burns and cuts. "We took parts from the food processing system. We won't have hot meals for the rest of the trip, but we'll get there." The hardest part was waiting. For 37 days, the rescue fleet traveled through unknown space, following the faint signal from the Viridian ships. Everyone found different ways to deal with the stress. Dr. Daniel Ross, the mission's xenobiologist, spent his time learning all he could about alien life. He had studied 23 different alien species during his career, but the Viridians were completely new. "They evolved in a high-pressure world," he explained at a crew briefing. "Their bodies might look strange to us. Their way of thinking might be different too. We need to keep open minds." Lisa spent her off hours listening to the Viridian messages, trying to understand more about the aliens they were rushing to save. Sometimes between the technical details and coordinates, she heard what sounded like singing. "I think they're sending music with their distress call," she told Captain Hayes one evening. Even facing death, they're sharing their culture. On day 25, they lost Eric Johnson. A radiation leak in the lower decks caught him while he was fixing a communications relay. His body was wrapped in an Earth flag and given to the stars, the first casualty of Operation Lifeline. Captain Hayes spoke few words at the ceremony. Eric believed in this mission. He believed that reaching across the stars to help others was worth any risk. "We will carry on for him." As they neared the end of their journey, a message arrived from Earth. It had been sent weeks ago, right after they launched. Thousands of people had gathered in cities across the planet, holding lights up to the night sky. The message included a short video showing the lights, a constellation of human hope visible from space. "This mission has brought all of us together," said the voice of Dr. Paul Wright in the message. "For the first time, we are not nations or colonies. We are simply humanity, reaching out to those in need. Come back safely if you can. But most importantly, show them who we really are." Captain Hayes shared the message with all 3 ships. No one said much after seeing it. They didn't need to. As the rescue fleet prepared for the final approach to the Viridian position, each person aboard understood what this mission truly meant. They weren't just saving aliens. They were defining humanity's place among the stars. After 37 days in space, the human rescue fleet finally arrived. Lisa Morgan was the first to see the Viridian ships on her screen. She gasped, and everyone on the bridge turned to look. "My God," Captain Hayes whispered. 7 huge ships hung in space before them. Each was at least 3 kilometers long, bigger than any ship humans had ever built. They looked like giant seashells with spirals and curves that seemed to flow like water frozen in time. They were beautiful, but clearly damaged. Parts of the ships were broken open to space and pieces of metal floated around them like leaves in a pond. "They're works of art," said Dr. Ross, the xenobiologist. "Their builders must see the universe differently than we do." Captain Hayes straightened his uniform. "Lisa, open a channel. Let's introduce ourselves." Lisa's hands shook slightly as she prepared the first official message to the Viridians. Everything they knew about alien contact would be tested now. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, Captain, using both standard galactic code and the pattern-based system Dr. Wright developed." The message was simple. "This is Captain Richard Hayes of the Earth vessel Horizon. We received your distress call. We have come to help." For several long minutes, nothing happened. The bridge crew held their breath. Then Lisa's console lit up. "Captain, we're getting a response." The main screen showed a strange pattern of lights and colors pulsing in complex ways. The computer translated it into words as best it could. "Earth vessels. Unexpected. Why have you come? Are you scouts for the hegemony?" Captain Hayes looked confused. "The hegemony? Ask them what they mean." Before Lisa could send the question, Ambassador Laura Klein stepped forward. She had been Earth's top expert on alien psychology for 15 years. "Captain, they think we might be enemies. Let me handle this." Laura carefully crafted a response. "We know nothing of any hegemony. We are humans from Earth. We heard your call for help and came, that is our way." The response came faster this time. "Impossible. No species travels so far for strangers." Laura smiled. "Yet here we are." For 3 days, the human ship stayed at a safe distance while Laura and her team worked to gain the Viridians' trust. They learned that the hegemony was a powerful alien empire that had destroyed the Viridian homeworld, forcing them to flee in their generation ships. "They don't trust easily," Laura explained to the captain. "Their whole civilization was nearly wiped out. But they're starting to believe we really are here to help." On the 4th day, the leader of the Viridian fleet finally agreed to meet with them. Captain Hayes chose a small team: himself, Ambassador Klein, Chief Engineer Martinez, and Dr. Ross. The Viridian leader's name was Zal-Katan, which translated roughly as "guide through darkness." When the human team boarded the Viridian command ship, they got their first look at the aliens they had come so far to save. The Viridians were tall, nearly 7 feet, with smooth skin that shifted colors like the surface of a soap bubble. They had 4 arms and moved with a graceful, flowing motion that reminded Dr. Ross of underwater creatures. Most surprising were their eyes, large and multifaceted, like those of Earth insects, but glowing with soft blue light. Zal-Katan approached the human team slowly. "You have traveled 17 light years to help beings you have never met. Why?" Captain Hayes had practiced his answer. "Because it was the right thing to do." The Viridian leader's skin flashed with patterns of light. The translator explained. "It was their way of showing emotion, in this case disbelief mixed with hope." "You may examine our ships," Zal-Katan finally said, "but know that we are watching." What Grace Martinez and Dr. Ross discovered amazed them. The Viridian ships were unlike anything humans had ever seen. They weren't just machines, they were partly alive. "Their engines are biomechanical," Grace explained, as she showed Captain Hayes her scans. "Living tissue grown around mechanical cores. It's hundreds of years beyond our technology." "Can you fix them?" Hayes asked. Grace shook her head. "I don't even fully understand them. The biological components are dying from radiation poisoning. It's like trying to perform surgery on an animal we've never seen before." Dr. Ross had more bad news. His medical scans showed that the radiation affecting the ships was also hurting the Viridians themselves. "Their bodies are absorbing the same radiation that damaged their ships," he explained. "About 40% of their population is showing signs of radiation sickness. Without treatment, they'll die within weeks, even sooner than their ships will fail." Captain Hayes looked out the viewport at the giant Viridian ships. So beautiful, and now so vulnerable. He thought of the 50,000 lives aboard, families, children, the last survivors of their world. "We didn't come all this way to tell them they're doomed," he said firmly. "If we can't fix their ships the way they are now, we'll find another way." Ambassador Klein joined them, her face serious. "Captain, there's something else you should know. The Viridians believe their ships are extensions of themselves. The living components come from their homeworld, the last pieces of the planet they lost. Telling them we can't save their ships is like telling them to cut off their arms." Hayes nodded slowly, understanding the challenge before them. "Then we work with what we have. Human history is full of impossible problems that we solved because we had no other choice." He turned to his team. "Dr. Ross, work with their medical experts. Find a way to treat the radiation sickness. Grace, gather every engineer we have. I want new ideas, crazy ideas, anything that might work." As the human team began their work, Zal-Katan watched them with glowing eyes. The Viridian couldn't understand why these strange beings from a distant world would risk so much for them. But for the first time since the distress call was sent, the leader felt something almost forgotten. Hope. Captain Mary Peterson of the engineering ship Vulcan stood in front of a large piece of Viridian technology. It looked more like a glowing plant than a machine. It pulsed with soft blue light, and had vine-like structures that connected to other systems. "We've been thinking about this all wrong," she said suddenly. The engineering team had been working for nearly a week, trying to understand how to fix the dying biomechanical systems of the Viridian ships. So far, they had made little progress. "What do you mean?" asked Grace Martinez, who had joined Peterson's team. Mary touched the living machine gently. "We keep trying to fix their technology their way, but we don't understand their way. We need to use our way, the human way." She turned to face the mixed team of human and Viridian engineers. The aliens towered over the humans, their skin constantly shifting in patterns of light that showed their emotions. "Your ships are dying organisms," she explained to the chief, Viridian engineer. "Ours are machines that can be rebuilt. Instead of trying to heal your systems, let's create something new together. A hybrid that combines both approaches." The Viridian's skin flashed with rapid patterns. The translator interpreted impossible. "The biocores cannot connect with crude mechanical systems," Mary smiled. "Humans specialize in doing the impossible." She called for a meeting with Captain Hayes and Sal Katan, the Viridian leader. There, she laid out her bold plan. "We can't fix their biodrives," she explained, "but we could build new hybrid systems using parts from our own ships combined with surviving Viridian technology." Captain Hayes understood immediately what she was suggesting. "You want to sacrifice our ships to save theirs?" "Yes," Mary said, simply. "We tear down the Vulcan and use her parts. We can even use components from the horizon if needed." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant, giving up their way home. Zalkatan's translator spoke. "You would strand yourselves among strangers? Why?" Hayes looked the alien leader in the eyes. "Because we didn't come all this way to do half a job." The work began immediately. Human and Viridian crews worked side by side, learning from each other. The humans marveled at the elegant biological technology of their new allies, while the Viridians were amazed by the practical, adaptable approach of human engineering. "Their whole philosophy is different," Grace explained to Hayes as they watched the teams work. "They grow their ships over decades. We build ours in pieces and keep fixing them as we go. They aim for perfection. We aim for good enough to get the job done." The work was dangerous. Many parts of the Viridian ships were filled with radiation. Lieutenant Nancy Ward and technician Kevin Davis both received dangerous radiation doses while working to connect power systems. They continued working even after the medical team warned them of the risks. "A few more hours should do it," Kevin had said, his face pale from radiation sickness. "We're almost there." In the medical bay of the Asclepius, Dr. Ross made a surprising discovery. He had been studying both the dying biocomponents of the ships and the radiation sickness in the Viridian people when he noticed something odd in his own blood tests. "There's something in human blood proteins," he told Dr. Carter excitedly, "something that might help stabilize the Viridian biological systems." Dr. Carter looked skeptical. How could human biology possibly be compatible with theirs? "We evolved on completely different worlds." "That's exactly why it works," Ross explained. "We evolved in environments with different kinds of radiation. Our cells have protection mechanisms their bodies never needed on their homeworld." The two doctors worked through the night, synthesizing compounds from human blood samples. By morning, they had created a treatment that might help both the sick Viridians and their dying ships. Meanwhile, the engineering teams faced their greatest challenge yet. The power distribution nodes on the outside of the main Viridian ship needed to be realigned, but the area was actively leaking plasma, deadly to both species. "Someone has to go out there," Grace said. "The connections have to be made manually." A team of 4 humans and 3 Viridians volunteered for the dangerous spacewalk. Among them was Jack Miller, Grace's young assistant who had joined the mission right out of engineering school. "Are you sure about this?" Grace asked him as he prepared his suit. Jack nodded. "This is why I came. To make a difference." The team moved carefully along the outside of the massive Viridian ship. The gas giant loomed below them, its gravity already pulling stronger as the ship's orbit continued to decay. They worked quickly, connecting the new hybrid systems that would give the Viridian ships the power to escape. Everything went well until they reached the final connection point. Suddenly, a surge of plasma erupted from a nearby vent, heading straight for the team. Without hesitation, Jack moved between the plasma and the others. He redirected the flow through his own suit systems, taking the full force of the energy burst. The connection was completed, but at a terrible price. "Worth it," Jack said over the comm as his suit systems failed. "Tell them we did it." By the time they brought him back inside, he was gone. That night, Sal-Katan performed a special Viridian ceremony. The leader placed Jack's name into what they called the living memory of their fleet, a biological database that would preserve his sacrifice for all future generations of Viridians. "In our culture," Sal-Katan explained, "one who gives life to save others becomes family forever." As the hybrid systems came online across the Viridian fleet, the ships began to stabilize. Dr. Ross's treatment was working too, both for the Viridian people and the biological components of their ships. Captain Hayes watched from the bridge of the horizon as the first Viridian ship successfully raised its orbit away from the gas giant. "Jack would be proud," Grace said quietly, standing beside him. Hayes nodded. 1 down, 6 to go. For the first time, it seemed the impossible mission might succeed after all. But as the humans celebrated this first victory, a new problem became clear. They had used so many parts from their own ships that their return journey to Earth was now impossible. The Viridian ships moved slowly away from the gas giant, their new hybrid engines glowing with steady blue light. The rescue mission had worked. 50,000 lives had been saved, but victory came with a price. The human ships were now stripped of essential parts. They had given too much to save the aliens. Captain Hayes called his crew together on the Horizon's main deck. His face was tired but proud. "I need to tell you something you already know," he said. "We don't have enough fuel or parts to get back to Earth. This was always a possibility when we started this mission." The room stayed quiet. They had all known the risks when they volunteered. "I've calculated this outcome," Hayes continued. "This was always potentially a one-way trip." Lisa Morgan looked around at her crewmates. Some looked scared, others calm. All of them had chosen to come here, knowing they might never return. Then something unexpected happened. Sal-Katan, the Viridian leader, requested to speak to all the human crews. The tall alien stood before them, skin rippling with patterns of blue and gold light. "For 20 generations we have traveled alone through space," Sal-Katan said through the translator. "We fled from our destroyed home, believing we would never trust another species again." The Viridian gestured with all 4 arms in a sweeping motion. "You have proven us wrong. You came when no one else would. You gave up your ships, your safety, and some gave their lives. Such actions have no precedent in our history." Sal-Katan's skin glowed brighter. "The Viridian Collective has made a decision. We offer you a place among us, as family by choice, to seek a new home together. Those who wish to return to Earth may take our fastest scout ship, which we will modify for your journey. Those who wish to stay will be welcomed as our own." The humans looked at each other in surprise. This was more than they had hoped for. Some, like Lisa Morgan, chose to return to Earth with news of what had happened. Others, including Captain Hayes, Grace Martinez, and Dr. Ross, decided to stay with the Viridians. Earth should know what happened. "Here," Lisa told Hayes before leaving. "They should know that we succeeded. And that the Viridians are friends," Hayes added. "Not just another alien species, but true allies." In the months that followed, humans and Viridians learned from each other. The humans taught the Viridians about adaptability and creative problem-solving, while the Viridians shared their biotechnology and art. When the combined fleet eventually made contact with other alien civilizations, they arrived not as separate species but as something new, a united people who had chosen each other. Word spread quickly through the galaxy about the humans, the newcomers who had risked everything to save strangers. Other species began to look at humanity differently, with new respect. Years later, Ambassador Laura Klein addressed the Galactic Council, explaining why humans had answered the Viridian distress call when no one else would. "It's simple," she said. "We hear someone crying in the dark and we go to them, no matter how far, no matter the danger. That's who we are. That's what makes us human."